Welcome back to Carving It Up. We've got a very special guest joining us right now. He is the host of the First and Tuna Podcast, big-time Rams fan, host of this Los Angeles Rams podcast, and I am very excited to get his perspective on what was an unbelievable game. And we just said a second ago before we went on air here, not what we thought we'd be talking about. Would you please welcome to Carving Up for the first time, Pierce DeLuna, who is joining the show. Pierce, how are you doing after that?
Running on about 3 hours of sleep. Was up until about 1:30 or so with a good buddy of mine from Rams on SI. Just emergency pod last night, and not how I expected that game to go. Unfortunately, it was a little heartbreaking to say the least.
I don't think it's like I said. I think it caught everybody off guard. The fact that the Niners had the cluster of injuries they had, most notably to Brock Purdy. Mac Jones steps in. We'll talk about him in just a second. But I think the thing that has been the topic of discussion ever since the game ended was Sean McVay going for it on the 4th down and 1 in the red zone. 3 minutes to go in overtime, down 3. First of all, do you agree with the call to go for it? And second, it's obviously hindsight's 2020, but do you agree with the call to go for it on 4th down and short? And if so, was that the correct call to go with Kyren Williams, behind a block from Puka Nacua?
With a team like the Rams, I'm always going to be down for going for it on 4th down. Situation like that, down into the red zone, you clearly have not stopped them on defense. Yeah, like you got offensive firepower. You got Matthew Stafford. You got Puka. You got Tay. Man, Matthew Stafford has almost 400 yards. I'm expecting, all right, condensed formation. What are they going to do? Fly sweep? What are they going to do? A play action? Quick little jet to Puka? Nope. They go with the play that has not worked against the Niners all night, and they run right behind 2 wide receivers and 2 backup linemen right into Fred Warner and company. And to no one's surprise, it did not work. I agree with going for it. The play selection, McVay said as much after the game. He blew that call. He did not put them in a good spot. That was not the call to go for whatsoever.
Yeah, I definitely thought like a bunch formation and like some sort of crossing pattern to Puka or Devontae or even like potentially Tutu Atwell. And a lot has been made of that, the fact that Sean McVay took the ball out of Matthew Stafford's hands. And we can, for anyone that didn't see the game, I'm sorry to hear that, but we could show you what Matthew Stafford did in that game yesterday. I mean, he was utterly sensational. 3 touchdowns, no picks, 389 through the air, completion percentage solid, passer rating excellent at 111, QBR 54, which is not bad. That's kind of the shocking aspect to me is obviously the Kyren Williams fumble, which almost cost you guys the game. You were able to get in a field goal range, get the stop on San Francisco. It's an element of, okay, is it a feel for the game type of situation? Is it a go with your hot quarterback type of situation? Like, did you think it was, what do you think went into that decision-making for McVay to where he goes to a play, as you said, that does not work in that spot?
Man, we've been asking that question for a number of years now. The public perception of McVay is that he is a phenomenal play caller, and we agree. Like, he's top 2, and sometimes not 2. Like, sometimes he's number 1. Whatever reason, when they get in these 4th and short, 4th and goal situations, it's almost like he overthinks it. It's almost like when you're playing Madden or NCAA, and you're sitting there, and you're playing against your older brother or someone who's better than you, and you're like, dude, I feel like no matter what I call, it's not going to work. So then you call something completely new, and you're like, I don't even know why I did that. I don't even like that play. I've never run that play in my life. That's almost what happens every single time with McVay. And no, you're right. I'm glad you put up that graphic, because my main goal as a propagandist for the Los Angeles Rams right now is Matthew Stafford should be in MVP conversations. I'm willing to take on any argument about some missed throws, some misfires to Devontae, because they're still working out that relationship. I mean, he makes big time throws in the right moments. He's the only reason they're in that game. His numbers this season, he's at 1,500 yards, I think 11 touchdowns and 2 interceptions or something along those lines. He absolutely needs to be in MVP conversations. He's putting this team on his back. But yeah, I don't know why he does this in 4th and short. I think Shanahan kind of got in his head a little bit because of the game flow, at least in this situation, in my opinion.
Well, what was, I think, the most shocking aspect about the game entirely is everyone's thinking about the overtime. Everybody's thinking about the 4th down. Folks that may have not caught the first half of the game, and again, I was kind of tuning in and out. Obviously, I'm watching my Red Sox get eliminated by the Yankees, which was brutal. But it's the slow start, 20-7. What do you think kind of got the Rams? Was it a taking your opponent lightly? Because listen, this is a huge divisional game, regardless of all the injuries, the cluster of injuries with Jennings and Nick Bosa and Ayuk and Ricky Pierce. I'll just go down the list. Brock Purdy, obviously. Do you think it's an element of taking your opponent lightly? Because as we know, the Rams and Niners have been going at it for the NFC West for a half decade plus now.
I initially thought that, and from the comments from McVay, hearing about who was yelling in the locker room, that I was sworn to secrecy on who was saying what. But even like I said, talking to people in the media pool, they were prepared. It wasn't a lack of preparedness, but for whatever reason, the Niners just had extra juice. It was almost like the Niners didn't play on this past Sunday and the Rams did, because they came out flat in the first half. They looked uninspired. They looked lackadaisical. And the 49ers absolutely wanted it more. And I almost forgot what I've been telling myself all week. Like, regardless of any injuries, you know this in the AFC North, divisional games throw all other previous context out the window because you know each other, you hate each other, like you have each other's number, especially when the coaches have been at each other's necks, like you said, for damn near a decade at this point. You can get your team ready to play under any circumstances. And I mentioned this week, last season, we won under similar circumstances. I had to win out the last minute off a big punt return, and now they get their get back. Yeah, this is brutal because it was in prime time, so it stings a lot more.
No question. I think listen, I've ranted on and on about how good I think the Rams defense is, particularly the defensive line. I think is outstanding, obviously, with Verse, Byron Young, and I've even thrown out the theory like, hey, what is it on the board? Maybe that Aaron Donald pulls an Eric Weddle and like late season joins a team, goes for again. I'm just throwing that out there. You never know. Crazy things have happened. Aaron Donald, I'm sure you've seen, still in fantastic shape. I'm sure he could give you a month of good play on the interior with some of those excellent pass rushers on the outside. But the knock on this Rams defense has been the secondary, has been the fact that they've obviously, given up big plays down the field. Could have easily lost, of course, to the Colts this past Sunday if A.D. Mitchell doesn't fumble through the end zone. Do you think, again, with all of the injuries, I list them, Jennings, Ayuk, Pearsall, Kendrick Bourne goes off in this game. Do you think it's an element of bad secondary or great play calling by Shanahan or Mac Jones just turning into Alabama Mac Jones? Or do you think, again, does it go back to that Rams secondary?
Man, definitely. I think you're right on all of them. We talked about it last night, trying to figure out, and going back and looking at the tape, it's all of it. Shanahan's game plan was not like, hey, we're not going to fall into the trap of what the Rams like to do. They like to take away over the top. That's what happened to Daniel Jones last week. When they tested it, they got bit in the ass for it. Shanahan wanted 4 yards, 5 yards, 4 yards, 5 yards. I'm going to play keep away. I don't want you to have the ball. That first quarter, they ran 23 plays versus the Rams 3. Like, that was exactly what their scheme was. And on the Rams side, it is a combination of the secondary is hurt. We're missing Ahkello Witherspoon. He was our big body physical cornerback, and it's really felt. And unfortunately, the talent-wise is not being realized by the cornerbacks right now. And with that margin of error being so small, it doesn't help when the defensive coordinator seems to kind of be stuck in his own way on this night. He refused to blitz a one-legged Mac Jones where he clearly was hurt and hobbled in the second half.
Yep.
Look, I'm being reactionary, and I am being that video game like, oh, I would do this in Madden. But I feel like there's some logic between, if the guy can't move, I'm going to send cover 1 and cover 0 blitzes. I'm going to test that. I'm going to see what he really can do, since we're getting burned by Kendrick Bourne like he's Jerry Rice Jr. I think he had like 140 yards or something.
Yep.
At that point, change it up, bring some more blitz. It is a perfect storm of all that. Shanahan had his guys prepared. I'm not going to sit here and say, oh, we just lost it. No, Shanahan absolutely had his team prepared. Like, they came out with a game plan and they executed phenomenally.
Well, I think there's like there's an adage, and I may be misquoting it, but the best secondary is a great pass rush, right? Like, you obviously, the quicker you get to the quarterback, it helps the back end tremendously. And I mean, you mentioned Mac Jones being on one leg, and he obviously got hurt. I believe it was the third quarter, ends up staying in the game and guts it out. But Mac Jones, and I've said this, I've been a Mac Jones critic, as many people who've watched my show know over the years. He can't move even when he's healthy, Pierce. Like that to me even makes it worse. So obviously now when he's on one leg, that's a bit of a problem. Let's go to more positive side, because I know this has been a tough last 12 hours or so for you with this loss. So you mentioned Matthew Stafford earlier, and I did want to ask you a question about him, because he is, I've said for the last couple of weeks, if you told me coming into the season, or you never told me coming into the season, that he had that back issue that kept him out for most of camp, I'd have never known it. He looks as healthy as ever. He's moving the pocket as well as ever. The connection with Devontae obviously isn't what it is with Puka, because he's got multiple years with Puka, but it looks like it's already rolling. He made a couple of big-time throws in the second half and overtime. You mentioned that he should be the MVP race. There's no question about that, but I'll ask you a little bit of a different version of that question. Is this, because he came to the Rams 2021, won a Super Bowl year one, is this the best football he's ever played in Los Angeles?
Ooh. We did kind of broach this topic yesterday off camera, me and my buddy from SI. I say outside of 2021. 2021, I mean, he came in and it was like the start of the era. You ask any Rams fan, that first touchdown to Van Jefferson, 60-something yard strike. It's like, oh, Matthew Stafford's here. This is what he was brought here for. And ever since then, it's just been a new era of quarterback for us here in Los Angeles. What I'm seeing now is definitely better than the last 2 years. He looks healthier. The stuff with the offseason, I was one of the few voices that, because I was credentialed, I was at training camp, just from what I saw and things I was overhearing, they were being overly cautious in the offseason with not just him, but a lot of other players. Like there was a day Cam Curl got stepped on and he was out for a play or two, and they just shut him down completely. They're like, nope, not taking any chances because of the slow starts they've had the last 2 seasons that started 1-3, 1-4 the last few years. They wanted to avoid that. We want Stafford for 20-something games. Put him on ice. He's going to come out. The worst thing that could happen is he's just not hot with Devontae Adams, which we're seeing that. But to your point, I would say outside of 2021, this is his best football he's been playing in Los Angeles. He's completely on fire.
He is on fire. I mean, even in the last game against the Colts, he had literally a perfect passer ring in the fourth quarter, a couple touchdowns. I think he had 173 passing yards, so he was absolutely magic. Quickly here is, because we know the Rams are a win now team. We know that this is a kind of a Super Bowl or bust type of season with Stafford getting older, bringing in Devontae. Is there, because we know the superstars, the Staffords, the Byron Youngs, the Jared Verses, all these guys. For the audience that may not be as tuned into the Rams as you are, name a Los Angeles Ram player, offense or defense, that it's like, keep your eye on this guy because he might be a difference maker when it's all said and done. You mentioned one of the big bodied corners, but bring out another Los Angeles Ram that maybe the audience should keep their eye out for over the course of this season.
Ooh, that is a good one. I'll give you one on both sides of the ball. Okay. So on the offensive side, for question, we don't know what he's going to become. He's going to be coming up in a contract year. Left guard Steve Avila. He's injured. He was technically a healthy scratch last night. He was out the last 2 games, was not on the inactive list, but he didn't start at left guard. He is one of our better linemen. We need him in the run game. He's missed for sure, but then he does have some injury issues. He's been missing a game here, 2 games there. So it's will we renew him? If he does not have an injury problem and we don't re-sign him, some other team may be getting a future Pro Bowler. So that worries me. It's a little iffy. On the defensive side of the ball, everyone's starting to know Byron Young. He's one of the sack leaders right now, so I don't want to use him. He's a great story. Look into him if you have not known his story. Great story.
Oh my gosh.
Quentin Lake. I'm gonna give props to Quentin Lake. He was our solo tackle leader last season. He plays safety, nickelback. He's more just DB. He's in the box. He's out deep. He's a captain on the defense. He's got the pedigree. His father was Carnell Lake, played for the Steelers back in the day, and wears a 37 just like his dad. And his dad is a Steelers Ring of Honor from playing multiple positions. That's what Lake does for us. He may not be flashy. He doesn't get all the picks, all the fumbles, but he's always around the ball. He's helping communication. And he's one of the glue guys that helps a solid defense that you guys know. So I would look out for Quentin Lake. He's really fun to watch on tape.
Before we get out of here, tell people where they can find your podcast, kind of what your show's about, the First and Tuna Podcast. Tell people where they can find it.
Just as you said it, man. First and Tuna Podcast on YouTube. I would appreciate if you guys follow the Substack as well. Just Substack First and Tuna Podcast. We're all things Rams. We're not very reactionary. Try to be a little bit more analytical. We come from a football background, so we try to be as educational as possible without being, your standard online football nerd saying mean things about players. So.
For sure. No, we need more of that. We need more of that in the media space, and credit to you for doing that. Pierce DeLuna, great stuff. You're welcome on the show anytime, my man, and have a good one. Hopefully the Rams are able to get back on track and continue to progress throughout this season.
I hope they get some sleep because that was rough. Thank you.
For sure. Thanks so much for watching the show on YouTube, and be sure to go click that big red subscribe button and check out the other clips and full shows from Carving It Up Live, as well as our other incredible content creators here on the Grid Network.